Sup guys. Alright, so we got a new technique video today, and it's gonna be for the squat. First thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna take a couple of clips from my clients who sent them in, and I'm gonna critique the shit out of it, and then I'm gonna show you my video of how to do it properly, and then we're gonna address a couple other squatting techniques like squat jumps and rack presses, or uh, rack squats as I like to call them. So first things first, we're going to address the depth and the stance. Depth is huge. A lot of people don't go deep enough, as we'll soon see. So here's my client Jack. Let's check out his squat real quick. Alright, so right away we can tell a couple things. For obviously you can tell his depth is not deep enough, so let's go back and take a look at that. But what's more important is check out his knees. Um, a squat is a sitting motion. He needs to sit his ass back more. And what he does instead is initiate from his knees, and what happens is his knees go forward this way. Okay, so what we need to do instead, one second. Alright, let's watch this. So he's standing, boom, as you'll notice, his knees went way. It's fine to have your knees over your toes if you're going ass to grass, but if you notice this angle is how he starts. What he should be doing is instead, his toes are fine, his legs should be here, and then he should be sitting back, and then have his body aligned this way. That's what he should be doing. So that's the first thing. Always learn to sit. And if you can't sit, or if you're not used to sitting, there's something we can do called box squats, which I'll go into very soon. So let's watch the rest of this. So obviously the depth. He should be, if his knees are going to be this far apart, then for this kind of knee situation, he needs to be about right below parallel, about here, and then his back here. So Jack just needs to work his sitting, and he needs to work his depth, and that's about it. Let's see what else, if we can catch anything. His explosiveness on the way up is pretty good. You do want to be explosive. Boom. Alright, and he racks. Alright, so we have another video. It's another one of my clients. Now he's lifting pretty heavy. I think he got to 300 pounds, but again, his depth is not there. But also another thing we're going to address is your stance. I don't know who's recording this video, but he yells at him to narrow his stance for some weird ass reason. So let's go ahead and take a look at it real quick. Alright, so plenty of things going on here that we need to fix. First and foremost, just like Jack, we need to make sure that he's not leaning forward when he starts to squat. He initiates his squat by leaning forward this way. Instead, what he needs to do, what he needs to do is go here and then sit, and then have this part of the body. The trunk is fine. You need to have a slight arch in your lower back here. That's fine. You can't have a perfectly straight spine because your spine is designed to handle load in a slight arch position. So let's see what else he can do. Also his stance. If I were him, let's check it out here. His stance, personally, I would make it about here, toes in there. Okay, so just a little bit wider. Shoulder width is fine if you're gonna go ass to grass. So if he was gonna do the full-on Olympic squat where he is basically all the way down here and then up, down, okay, that kind of squat requires your stance to be slightly narrower, but he's obviously not doing that, so there's no need. Let's keep watching. So here we go, his depth. An ideal squat in this situation would look like this. This stance again would be wider. This would be straight up, sitting back, low, and then neutral spine with a little bit of an arc. And you could be more explosive on the way up as well. Alright. So the next issue we're going to address is when you good morning the squat a little bit, which means as you're going down, you lean your trunk forward a little too much to the point where you're doing a good morning. A lot of people have this issue, especially those who are starting strength fans, because Mark Rippetoe's big thing is hip drive. He's all about the hip drive. But the problem is people do a hip drive, and what they'll do is they'll shoot their ass straight up, and their chest will go nowhere. What they end up doing is something called a stripper squat. So we don't want to do that. Here's my client Leslie. Leslie's one. She's been working her technique for a while, so her squat is actually pretty good. So, but I'm gonna nitpick a little bit because she tends to good morning. She likes to lean forward a little bit too much. So let's check it out. If you notice, her depth is perfect, but right there, okay, if you notice, her trunk is fine, but this should go up as well as this. Okay, a lot of people, a lot of people, what they do is they'll be here, the ass will go up, and then the chest will stay level. So this will keep going up and up and up. As soon as this crosses a certain point, it could be different on everybody. As soon as it crosses a certain point, you just can't lift your chest up anymore, and that's when squats fail. You'll see a lot of heavy, especially when you put some weight on it. A heavy squat will always fail if your ass goes up before your chest. Okay, it needs to come up as a unit. So when she is here, notice what happens. That one's actually pretty good. Let's watch the other one. Right there. Okay, you can notice she kind of got stuck a little bit. So she needs to stand up taller and a little bit faster. Again, her depth and stance is pretty good. I wouldn't change much for there. Right there, if you noticed again. Up. Now she's also doing a bunch of reps, so you're obviously going to get tired as you go along. But I'm just nitpicking her technique because she competes. So, you know, we need to be picture perfect as we're doing this. So all she needs to do is stand her chest up a little bit more, and she's good to go. So here's another one of my clients. He's actually very new, and for being someone who's very new, he's actually doing pretty good. What we need to fix is he could go a little bit deeper. You'll notice that he hits a position where he's just about parallel but not quite. And also a couple other things we're going to go over. So here we go. He sinks and he comes up. So again, for him, my issue would be watch his initiation of his squat. He will do the whole leaning forward. Okay, first of all, he's already not locked while he's standing, so he's already in a little bit of a break posture position. He needs to be completely solid while standing. Okay, a direct straight line. So as he starts to squat, notice that knee right there. Okay, he's not sitting back as much as he should as he goes down. So he stops here, which is just shy of parallel. He needs to go just about an inch or two more right there. That would be the ideal squat for him. Again, it's not too far off, but I would rather he go deeper than shallower. His trunk looks fine. His back looks fine. He's looking straight ahead for him, which works. Some people like to look down to have a neutral spine. Some people like to look up just to get their chest up. I'm personally the fan of looking up because when I look up, I have a natural tendency to drive my chest up. My worst squat is when I look down. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Look where you need to look. You do what you got to do to make sure that your hips and your chest come up as one unit. Let's go ahead and watch a few more of his. He could also lock out, again, just like the beginning. He likes to finish in this position for some awkward reason, but he needs to be completely straight. He needs to shoot those hips through a little bit and achieve a nice little lockout position. But overall, not bad. I like his toes. His toes are outward. His stance is actually a pretty decent width. I'm pretty sure he turns around for a second. There we go. The one thing you'll notice is his knees will buckle and give in a little bit as he starts to squat up. First reason that's because he's very new. He's just started doing this, so he's gonna have a little bit of a shaky knee. So as he gets better, these will improve. What you want to do is, if you're noticing your knees are doing that and they're buckling in all the time, do some body weight squats with a band around your knee. So it would look like this. You put a resistance band around your legs here, and what you want to do is to prevent it from sliding off. As you squat, you push your knees out towards the resistance bands so that they never slide off on top of your knee. That'll get you trained to make sure your knees come out as you squat. And also when you come up, you're going to have to make sure that your knees are pushing outward, because as soon as they push in, the band will start sliding down, and that's when you know you need to do a little bit of work. So let's watch a couple. Comes down, knees buckle in a little bit. Again, he's very new, he's just starting, so you know, a lot of room for improvement, a lot of time he's going to work on it, and I'm pretty sure he should get better. Now let's address some squat variations. Alright, right before we do that, I wanted to go over my squat. Now personally, my best squat is 315 pounds at a body weight of 129. So, and I mean, I didn't do anything special to get there, so, but I do have a decent squat because I've worked on my technique quite a bit. So let's take a look. This is from the back. And notice the depth I'm achieving. I'm actually going below parallel. My toes are out, okay? If you notice, my shoulders are right here. So just slightly wider than shoulder width is what you want. If I have pretty good hip flexibility, so I can achieve a full ass to grass squat with this position. However, if my flexibility wasn't that good, and if I wanted to achieve a full deep squat, I would have my feet about here, and that's what I used to do until I got my flexibility back. Let's keep watching. So I drive up. Now let's watch from the side. Couple things I want you to look out for, the stuff we went over. One is me sitting back. Two, notice how my chest and my hip drive up together. So here we go. Sit back, low, and boom, pop right up. So let's watch that again, because it was so beautiful. Actually, it could be a little bit better, but it's not bad. So again, notice my knee position. Okay. Everything else that's happening in the squat is from behind that knee position. So let's keep playing. Boom. Okay. Perfectly parallel. I think I should go below parallel a little bit. Nope. Just about parallel. So here, knees practically above the toes. Okay. If they go forward a little bit at this point, not a big deal. Don't get too anal about it. But the important thing is my sitting back, and this one I'm looking forward, and notice how my chest and my hip drive up together. Here we go. Up. Boom. So there's no good morning, it's just moving as one single unit. Now we'll address the squat lockouts or the rack squat, whatever you want. What the idea for this is to overload your muscles and get used to handling bigger and bigger loads, so that you can learn to squat heavier and heavier. Where you start it really depends, but ideally you want the last quarter motion, range of motion for your squat. So for example, Leslie here, her squat depth when she goes all the way parallel would be about here. So her safety pins would be about there as well. Okay, her 50% range of motion would just about here. Okay, and then her final range of like full stand up is here. So she puts her pins about here, which is not bad. So her range of motion is about a quarter, I would say, something like that. You can start at 50%, but your weight's not going to be as heavy. The idea for squat lockouts is to be able to handle heavy weights. So here we go. She gets under the bar, nice same stance, nothing different, and boom. She could be a little bit more explosive, but other than that, she does pretty well. and back. And you'll notice the weight difference she's using. If you notice right down here, her squat lockout's at 210, and she squats 145 for 5. Ideally, I want to get her up to 250 or maybe 300 as her single. I think she's able to manage from what I remember around 170 is her squat or something like that. So again, as soon as she starts doing squat lockout, she's going to get better. Let's watch a few more. Boom. So throw these in your program. Ideally, you want to do these before your actual squat, because you'll notice, just like jumping with ankle weights, as soon as you take them off, you jump higher. If you do squat lockouts for maybe about 3 sets, 2 to 3 reps, you'll have a much easier time squatting your regular weight, and you'll actually hit a couple PRs if it's the first time you're going to do this. Now let's address some squat jumps. So again, we're watching Leslie here. One of the things about the squat jump is you don't actually want to squat all the way down. Because it's a jump, you need to work your leverages. So for example, if there's no bar in your back and you were to do a regular jump, you'll achieve your best jump when you don't do a full squat and you don't hit parallel. So let's watch Leslie here. She goes all the way down to squat and then jumps. So ideally, I would stop her here. Okay, this is all she needs. As soon as you hit parallel or lower, you lose power in your jump. You're just not that explosive. Your leverages don't work against you. So this is about a 45, I would say, something like that. You want to hit that angle, and then from there drive up and explode, as I'll show you very soon. But her squat jumps are pretty nice. You know, there's nothing wrong with them, except she just doesn't need to go as deep. Also, you'll notice she likes to do the look up thing, if you'll notice in the mirror. She's had that good morning problem, so for her to drive her chest up is very important, and that seems to help her. So if you need to do that, then go ahead. Also watch her landing. She lands very soft. The order for landing on your feet is, let's say these are your feet. Okay, so the first thing you want to land on is your toe. Okay, which is right underneath your toe, actually, not on top. And then your ball of your feet, which is here, that's 2. And then finally your 3 is your heel. Obviously, when you take off, it's the complete opposite. Your heels lift first. That's what take off. Then the ball of your feet, then your toes. So just a reverse order. If you find this difficult, practice just doing regular squat jumps without a bar in your back, and start landing toe ball heel, toe ball heel. As soon as you get nice and soft in your landing, throw a bar in your back, and then obviously add more weight. So let's watch a couple of these. Boom, and nice soft landing. Down, up. So there we go. Now let's watch mine. Alright, here we are. Let's watch my squat jump. You'll notice I don't go deep, I just explode. And notice how I absorb the landing. I just don't land toe ball heel, but I also sink down a little bit to make sure that, you know, it's not too jarring on my spine. Down, up, absorb. And that's all there's to it. You don't really want to go heavy on these. You want to aim for a little bit of higher reps, around maybe 6 to 8 is what you're going for, and also be explosive. That's what we're working. Next thing we're going to address is the box squat, which teaches you how to sit back nicely. So here I am. As you can notice, I've had the opportunity to use blocks that you can adjust. If you don't have this, you can actually use a regular wooden size box, but you have to make sure the height is at least parallel. You don't want to go above parallel. So here we go. Set up with my regular stance, go up, and I sit back. Boom, right here. That's a parallel position for me. Down here, regular spine. You also notice I wait a little bit. Now when you box squat, what you want to do is you want to drive your heels backwards. It's kind of like doing a leg curl. Okay, you kind of want to drive your heels to your ass as you're standing up. So here we go, and boom. It doesn't look like it, but I'm really driving my heels back as much as possible. And notice how I also sit down and sit. Okay, it's not touch and go. The reason you sit is that you can develop explosive power as well. And boom. So if you notice that your squats are initiating with your knees going forward like this, like we addressed in a couple of my clients, if you notice that's happening, this is an excellent way to fix that and learn how to sit back properly. Box squats can be, used as a regular exercise, just like regular squats. So you can start loading heavier and heavier. You can throw them in your program. What I ideally like to do is start with squat lockouts, nice and heavy squat lockouts. And then if I need to do box squats, like if I need to work my sit, I'll do very light box squats just to get that position of seated back, so I have a little bit of muscle memory, and then I'll start my squat session. Or at least that's what I used to do when my squat used to suck. Now it's kind of okay, so I'll throw in box squats every now and then just to make sure my technique is polished and ready to go. And that's pretty much all there's to the squat. One final thing, try not to use shoes too much. These shoes have a pretty flat sole, so that's pretty good. If you notice, Leslie, she was using Chucks, so that's pretty good. Don't use regular running shoes because they give you a nice big heel lift, and you need to start learning how to squat with bare feet. Bare feet if you can get away with it. If not, Vibrams or anything with a flat sole is good. If you notice that your heel is coming up as you're squatting, that's the issue you need to address. Then you can throw in a heel lift for a little bit, but try and get rid of it. You should be able to squat with bare feet. And that's it. Have fun. If you need me to critique a video for you, get in touch with me. Usually I do this for my clients, but if I have time, I'll take a look. Happy squatting.